I'm the Irish guy, and what was that? First of all, to the hundreds of Real Madrid fans who left the Bernabeu early, I hope you all now feel like slicing off your nipples with a fork. This is why you always stay till the end, which is also what every smug nerd says when they're the only one left in the cinema at the end of a Marvel film. But listen, I realised when Real Madrid slapped in that 73rd minute goal, catching Thibaut Courtois out his near post, I'm sure the fans of the biggest club in the world must have been close to gagging in their mouth. And then in the 89th minute, watching a sweaty furball from Birmingham dance to your defense. Oh, well, that was just too much to bear, right? I mean, this is the proud Real Madrid, and you were being run ragged by someone who looks like he plays the banjo outside the train station and eats mice for tea. But to leave early, I mean, shame on you. I hope you now feel stupid. One of the greatest nights in your club's history, and you were one of the lucky ones who managed to get a gold ticket to the match, and yet you're still forced to watch extra time through your phones on the street. Honestly, this is like someone who missed the birth of his child because he was too busy sitting in the hospital reception playing Sonic the Hedgehog on his phone. But this is fitting. The first time Real Madrid had anything to do with Man City, the only time they actually realised another company in Manchester actually existed, was when they were trying to sell them a Brazilian wonderkid winger to kickstart their new regime. So, pretty fitting that Rodrigo, the new Robinho, has just tried to push the Man City project off a cliff. I mean, I hope he's a nicer boy than Robinho. I mean, Christ above, yes, he had the Brazilian tricks and flair, but honestly, if I had a daughter, I'd sooner she went on a date with Chris Brown. But rival fans are saying that Man City are in crisis.
Another year without a Champions League for Pep and Man City are in crisis.
We have Manchester United fans saying that Man City are in crisis, which, I'm sorry, is a bit like Johnny Depp telling Will Smith that his career is about to go down the toilet. What, you mean the guy who just won the Oscars while you got kicked off a Disney film and apparently had to scrape wife poo off your pillow? Man City have won 38 games of football this season and are 4 wins away from 95 points in the league. Crisis? The only one other club in Premier League history has ever put up a higher points total than that, and guess what? They're the other team in the Champions League final. I mean, what if Rodrigo's header had grazed the bar? What if he jumped too soon? Are City suddenly not in crisis anymore? Last minute mess ups in the Champions League, they happen. It's a tournament full of elite competition. These bottle jobs happen to every manager. I mean, the guy standing across from Pep in the dugout once lost the Champions League final after being 3 goals ahead at half time. That same year, AC Milan needed a last minute to squeak past PSV in the semi-finals. The previous year, they'd thrown away a 4-1 first leg lead over Deportivo La Coruña in the quarter-finals. A year after winning the Champions League, Carlo Ancelotti found himself 2-0 down at Portsmouth in the UEFA Cup, needing Ronaldinho to dig him out of a hole. I mean, is Carlo Ancelotti a serial bottle job? Is he suddenly mentally weak? No, it's beyond nonsense.
Man City balling in the Champions League as usual. Man City bottlers, Man City bottlers, Man City bottlers.
Losing 3-1 against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Yeah, that's a bottle job, right? Liverpool have done exactly that twice in the last 4 years. I mean, I don't want to attack Liverpool as a football club because of the actions of one fan, someone who looks a bit like a Viking from Cork. You know, always answer to Hagrid. But Loris Karius threw 2 balls into his own net against Real Madrid before blaming it on a headache. I mean, that was a bottle job too. This has nothing to do with how big your club is. Lads, go back to the spring of 2003 and Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United, reigning champions of England, beat Real Madrid 4-3 at Old Trafford and lost 3-1 at the Bernabeu. A complete reflection of today. Put this into perspective. Look where you are. I mean, this is like if in 10 years Ben Affleck's kid brother steps out of his shadow to play the latest Batman. Man City are living the dream. I mean, go back to 1999 and there's a club who scored twice in the last minute to rescue a playoff final against Gillingham. Tell any City fan back then, watching their team being bullied in the rain by a team coached by Tony Pulis, that one day, yeah, they'd concede 2 in the last minute to mess up a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid and they'd snap your hand off. It's the equivalent of telling a local milkman in Wigan that in 20 years he'll be producing a rap album with Jay-Z.
Oh, Pep Guardiola hasn't won the Champions League in 11 years! Oh, he's a bald fraud!
I'm sorry, do you understand how difficult it is to win the Champions League?
Bona fide football heritage, actual pedigree and status versus a totally insignificant club on the European stage. There was only ever one winner.
Yeah, This was written by a Chelsea fan. Let's not forget that it took this club 9 years of Roman's money before you finally lifted old big ears. And even that was, let's not forget, a fluke smash and grab win on penalties. I mean, if Arjen Robben had just buried his penalty in extra time, then lads, Chelsea, despite all the billions in the bank, would have had to wait nearly 20 years to win the Champions League. Chelsea lost 5 Champions League semi-finals, and they were dumped out of the round of 16 6 times.
No managers lost more Champions League semi-finals than Pep Guardiola.
Oh, you can spin anything. This man has reached 9 Champions League semi-finals. 9! Please shut up. 9 semis should be celebrated, you absolute donuts. This Pep project at Man City is just 6 years in the making. Sir Alex Ferguson had to wait 13 years to reach a Champions League final with Man United. I mean, he only ever won the competition twice, and one was a lucky smash and grab last minute win against Bayern Munich, and the other one is because John Terry slipped. The only reason Man United won that cup is because that night in Russia, it happened to rain. You won not through any managerial brilliance, but because of the rain. Ozzy, you shouldn't really be celebrating Fergie's genius that night. You should be kissing the Russian weatherman. Injury time carnage and penalties. That was Fergie's European pedigree. And he's one of the greatest coaches to ever live. Guardiola just went out of this competition to a guy who's now reached 7 Champions League finals in his life, both as a player and a manager. Fergie's greatest night of his career was needing penalties to see off a team managed by Avram Grant. No credit ever goes to Man City for getting into the knockout stages every single year. Oh, you think it's easy to do you? Right, between 2005 and 2011, Manchester United failed to get out of the group twice, and that was with Fergie in charge. Chelsea also failed to qualify from their group in 2012 when they were reigning champions. Arsene Wenger was another spectacular coach, and he only ever reached the final once and lost. He was also knocked out of the Champions League last 16 7 seasons in a row. Are you suddenly going to call him a French fraud with the tactics of Egdasanya? There is utterly no shame in Man City, yes, Manchester City, losing a Champions League semi-final in extra time to Real Madrid. Can we wake up and remember who this club is? It's a club who, not too long ago, they were losing 8-1 to Middlesbrough. But I have to say, Carlo Ancelotti is challenging everything we thought about old managers. I'm gonna say a sentence which will make Everton fans feel like biting off my earlobes. Right. Rafa Benitez could have taken Real Madrid to this final as well. Prize above, Benitez versus Liverpool in the Champions League final. Mouth-watering. Benitez is finished now, right? Don't underestimate just how close Carlo Ancelotti was to being finished too. Lads, Rafa Benitez versus Carlo Ancelotti was a Champions League final in 2005 and 2007. Both men are the same age and of very similar ability. And one of them has just been sacked at Everton, and with the stock now buried in bird poo, to the point where this summer he's probably going to be begging his agent to get him the Burnley job. Honestly, by mid-June, he's probably going to be drinking stale coffee in some sweaty Lancashire waiting room, making conversation with Chris Wilder, Sam Allardyce and Michael Duff. If that's not enough to make a former European champion feel like swallowing a golf ball, then I don't know what is. But please, that could so very easily have been Carlo Ancelotti too. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if last summer Real Madrid had just appointed Max Allegri, then Carlo would have stayed at Everton. And with no funds to spend last summer, he'd also been sacked in January after a defeat to Norwich. Trust me, this Everton team is a sack of wet potatoes, and his time at Everton was falling apart anyway. Go back a year ago, and he was losing at home to Sheffield United, and his last match in charge was a 5-0 defeat to Man City. What do you think Ancelotti would have done with Andros Townsend and a fat Michael Keane? People would have very quickly blamed Carlo. The likes of Chris Sutton and Danny Murphy would have been screaming that this guy was now a wrinkly dinosaur whose tactics belong in the Chinese Super League. Ozzy, instead of outsmarting Guardiola in the Champions League semi-final, he'd probably now be in the running for the job at Cagliari. Or actually, considering the Italian connection, I wouldn't have put it past him if he displaced Claudio Ranieri at Watford. Yes, Ancelotti at Vicarage Road. Oh, the disrespect! It's like offering Al Pacino a road and home and away. But great managers are only as good as the squads they have at their disposal. In the same way, give Benitez a job at PSG, and it would not surprise me if they reach the final next season. I am convinced if Jose Mourinho had the Bayern Munich job, this man would be winning yet another treble. We are so quick to write off old managers as being old, past it, and washed. I mean, just 2 years ago, this guy was being sacked by Napoli and replaced by Gennaro Gattuso, someone who looks like he should be sharing a bed in a cottage with Snow White. In everyone's eyes, Ancelotti was done damaged goods. His mere presence at Real Madrid last summer, he could have been seen as a stale, pasted interim coach, just a desperate harking back to the past. Instead, he squeezed 43 goals out of Karim Benzema. He's re-energized players like Marco Asensio. He's turned Vinicius Jr. into a 20-goal-a-season superstar. He's helping the progress of Eduardo Camavinga, who, by the way, is on course to become everything Paul Pogba failed to be. Honestly, lads, managers are only as good as the jobs that they're given, and there is an elitist snobbery towards legends of the past. It would have been so easy for Florentino Perez to turn his nose up at Carlo. I mean, rehiring a manager he already sacked after 2 seasons, and it was now failing to finish above Leeds, nicking a manager from Everton. For a proud man like Perez, a guy who was brokering the Super League, clearly he didn't think much of clubs like Everton. You would think he would sooner eat a birthday cake filled with broken glass than try to pinch one of their employees. I thought he would sooner try to create the next Zidane by promoting Raul Blanco from Real Madrid Castilla, or maybe offer Antonio Conte the biggest wage in football. But if Roma had not interfered in April, then I am convinced this, right now in the Champions League final, would be Jose Mourinho. This was the guy Perez wanted, his #1 choice last summer. They even held talks with Jose just weeks after he'd already signed the contract at Roma. If he wasn't so quick to jump at a rebound gig in Italy, I'm convinced he would have been unveiled as Real Madrid manager. And suddenly, give him this monster mentality dressing room, a team full of serial winners. He's been crying out for that for the last 7 years. Close enough, you wouldn't find a single Dele Alli or Luke Shaw at Real Madrid. None of these soft, distracted Instagram playboys who cry when you shout at them. No, at Real Madrid it's just winning machines. And I'm convinced it would be Jose, not Carlo, rebuilding his career with yet another Champions League final. But honestly, the point of this is, stop writing off old managers. Football needs to place more trust in them. You don't suddenly become a decrepit old man without a tactic in his head. Honestly, when PSG sacked Pochettino, is there anything to be said for Arsene Wenger? And let's be honest, we don't really want another all-English Champions League final. I mean, come on, I'm sorry, but that's not the Champions League. When 2 teams from the same country go head-to-head in the final, oh, it just spoils it for everyone. Christ, look, the Champions League final is supposed to be about prestige, glamour, and glory. Famous, rare nights written into the history books of your club forever. I mean, do you really think any Liverpool fan is going to be sitting down his grandkids to tell him the story about that time they beat Tottenham? The grandkids will just be like, so what? They just lost to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. Being proud of beating Spurs is like gloating about robbing a child's lunch money. And Chelsea fans, be honest with yourselves. Last season's final, it was anticlimactic. Can you really lose yourself in the emotion of winning a European final when the whole game feels like an FA Cup semi-final? I mean, do you really think Ben Chilwell or Mason Mount had childhood dreams of beating Man City? Similarly, the Madrid derby took place in the Champions League twice. I was just a bit meh. Bayern Munich met Borussia Dortmund at Wembley, but they already play each other about 4 times a year. Would anyone really want to see Liverpool versus Man City for the 3rd time in 6 weeks? The last time we truly had a same country final actually live up to the magic of the Champions League was Man United versus Chelsea in 2008. I'm not sure why. We should have been sick to our stomach of that tie. Christ, well, that was an FA Cup final the year before, which was boring as sin. But for some reason, that one in Moscow just delivered. Anyway, that's what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Alright, is Ancelotti, was he ever past this? Have Man City bottled it? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe as always. Talk to you in a while.